NAFTA update. The quote, "We won't sign a bad deal if a bad deal's offered." Jesus. So here's the headline. There's a growing frustration. Top Republican slams Canada's NAFTA negotiating tactics. So in a statement sent to reporters, House Majority Whip Steve Scalise and his say he and other U.S. lawmakers are growing increasingly frustrated with Canada's refusal to cede ground on some key sticking points standing in the way of renegotiating a trilateral trade deal, saying Canada alone is to blame for continued delay. So I went to Scalise's, I think that's Scalise, website, and I wanted to read the whole statement directly from the source because, well, the media is fake. So here it is. Scalise calls on Canada to join the trade deal, warns of congressional action. Washington, September 18, 2018. House Majority Whip Steve Scalise released the following statement on Canada's continued delay to join Mexico and the United States in the new North American trade deal. Quote, now that the Trump administration has completed a new trade deal with Mexico and continues negotiation on a better agreement with Canada, there is growing frustration with many in Congress regarding Canada's negotiating tactics. Members are concerned that Canada does not seem to be ready or willing to make the concessions that are necessary for a fair and high standard agreement. While we would all like to see Canada remain part of this three-country coalition, there is not an unlimited amount of time for it to be part of this new agreement. Congress takes seriously and intends to fully enforce the deadlines established in the Bipartisan Congressional Trade Priorities and Accountability Act, TPA. We will not short-circuit the open, transparent, and accountable process established under TPA to ensure that the full text is available to the public. Mexico negotiated in good faith and in a timely manner, and if Canada does not cooperate in negotiations, Congress will have no choice but to consider options about how best to move forward and stand up for American workers. Well, that seems pretty A, measured, and B, well thought out. Like, he's saying pretty clearly, like, we understand the stakes are large. We want you to be a part of this, and we can't say it any clearer than that. But if you don't do something, we're going to do what's best for us. And I said this before, if we keep making it a problem, they're going to get what they need from somewhere else. If we keep making Trump's life a living hell by refusing to cede on Chapter 19, which is the ability to bring up problems to an independent court if there's a trade negotiation deal. And this happened during the softwood lumber dispute. So a court dealt with it rather than going to a full-blown trade war. The other thing is cultural considerations. Basically, you can't have American companies buying CTV or Canadian channels, right? Canadian media, et cetera. And supply management. And supply management was already given up, right? In the TPP, we already gave it up. And I mean, there's a percentage here. And at the beginning of or at the end of G7, when we had a deal in everything but signature, this was included. This was what we gave up in the deal. I'm sure of it. Well, I don't have that in writing. I don't have a link to share with you that. But it specifically, if you go back and look in the other videos, the deal that was signed specifically states protecting the dairy supply management, protecting the dairy farmers. It specifically says it protects our farmers, it protects blah, blah, blah. I'll have a link to that in the description. But today, fast forward through Trudeau's absolute failure of a summer, catastrophe of a summer. And well, here's Ms. Freeland on after seeing that, after knowing that is the statement made by Mr. Scalise. This is Freeland's statement.
So that's not rhetoric. As the Prime Minister has said very clearly, our government is committed to getting a good deal for Canadians, and we absolutely believe that no deal is better than a bad deal. And let me also say that any negotiator who goes into a negotiation believing that no deal is an impossibility any negotiator who goes into a negotiation believing that he or she must get a deal at any price, that is a negotiator who will be forced to pay the maximum price for that deal. So absolutely what we say is our view. No deal is better than a bad deal. Having said that, let me also say this. One of, I would say, maybe even go so far as to say, one of Canada's national characteristics is a talent for compromise. We're good at finding compromises. It's something we do as a country. and we have an excellent team of negotiators. This will now be our 4th week of this phase of intensive, continuous negotiations. The atmosphere has been good. There is goodwill and good faith on both sides, and that is all very, very positive.
Do you feel bound?
And I couldn't find the rest of the questions and all that. So sorry about that. If I find it, I'll link to it or do an update video. But yeah, I mean, we've given up. We've opened up our dairy in pursuit of a trade deal. The idea that our biggest, closest trade partner and one of our closest historical friends for the last 30 years is somehow trying to screw us by offering us free trade, and they want access to our milk market to do it. Well, man, it really seems like an obvious answer to me that maybe you should put the dairy on the table. Maybe you should put it on the table in order to save the rest of the economy, in order to join this deal, because it seems pretty clear that Congress will act if this is not done. And if this isn't done by the end of the month, it's not going to get done. So I don't know what to tell you. I mean, you can play the strongman right up until it blows up in your face. You can play chicken until you actually just run into them, right? Like, that's where we're at this point in time. We're running into the wall. And if you don't see that, Ms. Freeland, well, man, I don't think you do see that. So it's a damn shame that you're still negotiating this for Canada. peoplespartyofcanada.ca. Thanks for watching.